it's nice to meet you. My name is Ayana King, and I am the owner of Maximum Communications, and I am a friend and collaborator with Fremont Senior Living. And I'm really glad to be to be here with you today.
Good afternoon, Ayana. It was nice meeting you too.
Ram, what community are you from?
I am from the Fremont Senior Living in Springfield, Missouri.
All right. Well, I've heard so much about you, and I'm really excited for us to have this conversation today, which is all about bystander intervention. And honestly, we're doing this because October 2nd marks International Day of Nonviolence. This is also the birthday for Indian independence movement leader and pioneer of the nonviolence strategy, Mahatma Gandhi. So this is really exciting.
Yeah, I can understand that. The value of that date. Yes.
Yes. So I think what will be really helpful is if we go through Arrow's 4 eyes of bystander intervention, and then maybe we can talk about how one might act on them in a community setting. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, perfect.
That we all need to know. Yeah.
It is something that we all need to know.
Yep.
So there are, like I said, 4 eyes of bystander intervention. They are interrupt, intervene, initiate, and provide intel. That's the 4th eye. Right. Now, if you were to interrupt in a situation where you might witness bullying or harassment of any kind in a community, you may choose to do one of these 4. By interrupting, you create a diversion by interrupting the aggressor and pulling attention away from the situation. If you were to intervene, you might stand up for the target or the victim by addressing the aggressor directly. If you were to initiate, you might tap a third party for assistance. You might enlist the help of a manager or another community team member to help address the conflict, or you might provide intel. That would mean that when possible, you might document what you've witnessed and provide intel to the appropriate community members. So again, those 4 eyes are interrupt, intervene, initiate, and intel. So Ram, we know that bullying and harassment can happen anywhere to anybody at any age, even in communities. So based on these 4 tips for bystander intervention, have you ever had an opportunity to stand up or stand in for someone? And what did you do?
Yes, there were a number of occasions that, this is so common, this is natural that in this world that we live in, that, there are always situations that you come across sometimes unexpectedly. Mm-hmm. And so that is the key there, because things like this happens unexpectedly for the person who is called later on as a bystander or a upstander,
Upstander.
So the decision has to be coming very quickly, and the core principles, as far as I am concerned, I have learned through the readings of mine and sometimes put into practice, are the core principles in bystander situation or intervention. The first one is you have to recognize the situation. And I mean, I can talk about that later on, more about it. But the second thing is access safety. In other words, you have, before, whether you intervene or not, you have to ensure that your intervention does not escalate the situation. Yes. It can happen, in real life situations. And the third one is you have to choose a strategy. This is the key thing, because you see, it's an instantaneous thing, unexpected thing, that you are just happen to be there. You are witnessing something that is not the right thing. Someone is in trouble. So choosing the strategy is where, you mentioned about the initiating the what next kind of thing. Yes. Or the intel thing, in other words, whether I should take a direct action, or should I distract, or should I delegate by asking someone else to come and help me, or delay it to a point where help can come from.
Yes.
That is the secret. So this is why some people just don't intervene sometimes, because it's a very quick reaction. you
Yes.
know as a person, you are shocked at the sight of something, and then you are saying, oh my god, now what do I do? And if you are alone, you are all the more nervous. But if you are in a group of people around you, then you are saying, my intervention, is it going to escalate or is it going to calm down? Should I get the help of the people who are there? Sometimes
Yes.
nobody will want to do it. In fact, somebody might even say, don't interfere, it's their business, leave it alone.
Yes. And Ram,
See?
if I can, what you're explaining right now is called the bystander effect. And this is
Correct.
what happens when a
Correct.
group of people witness a situation where someone is being harassed or bullied. And instead of them stepping up and standing in and being an upstander instead of a
Right.
bystander, they expect someone else to do it. And
Yeah.
so, what you described were the 5 Ds of bystander intervention. I love that you've done your homework. And the 4 eyes, arrows, 4 eyes align.
Yeah.
So, thinking about how this can happen, you did. You said it can be spontaneous, it happens in an instant. Um, Given maybe a hypothetical situation where you might be at a grocery store or perhaps out in your neighborhood park, thinking about a situation where you have an opportunity to either be an upstander, someone who uses a strategy of nonviolence to intervene, or a bystander, how do you think you might respond?
Well, it depends on two things. If it is a public place, and I happen to see something that is not right, obviously, there are other people in there. And so you have to really, I would say, in such situation, unless you are sure of, de-escalating the situation, call for help. Even you don't even have to say by words. You can just look at the other person next to you, or and then reckon them to say, "Come help." And then together, if you go, the situation is a little better. I hope, Anna, you understand what I'm thinking. My scenario that I'm thinking hypothetically is, what if that person who is harassing or somebody has a weapon, so you don't want to be in a situation where, not that you are getting shot, your fear of your death, but
Yes.
by the reaction of the bystander, what is happening, becoming upstander, it can become much worse, you
Yes.
know.
And
And
I,
yeah, there are actual stories in 1964 and 65. I have heard about some of the stories in the New York City, the uh, commuter trains, a case. That's how it actually started. If you recall the history of that, the bystander
yes.
effect, that's what it started, you know.
And so the other thing that you're describing is you're right. Sometimes the way that we choose to upstand for others can escalate a situation
Yeah.
and could lead to violence. So one of
Yes.
the first things you should do in assessing a situation is ask yourself, will your presence inflame what is already happening? And I love that you came up with an example of, if you want to intervene but you don't want to escalate, even if the victim of bullying or discrimination is a stranger, by simply making eye contact with the victim or the target and making a plan, maybe with your eyes, maybe by gesturing to get them out of the situation, you have in fact helped to de escalate. So, thank you for that. So, I just want to remind everyone who's watching that interrupting and intervening, the way in which you choose to do it, could actually inflame, and that is never the intent. So always choose wisely, choose nonviolence, and think of these other ways that you may intervene by initiating a third party. And can you give us an example of what that might look like in a community to initiate a third party, Ram?
Well, one of the best thing is to reckon a person that you know for sure can see, while you are trying to calm down that situation, give an icon, a simple eye contact saying, call 911 or call police or call some help. some help. In other words, that kind of a signal you give while you are becoming a, upstander. You see, you are not trying to be a hero in these situations. I mean,
Right.
that's not the idea here, right? So all that we need is the situation to be normal, the person who is being harassed or in trouble being helped without making it worse. So the best
Yes.
way is to give that is what you mentioned when you say intel. That intel is actually your ability as a witness to the thing, to help get the help without even knowing the aggressor knowing that very well, because somebody can iPhone, just connect 911 or something, or a supervisor or some other people who can come and help. uh,
Yes.
no one wants to risk, any worse the situation that is already in.
You're right. So, in providing intel, remember that providing intel simply means that you document the facts and you give that information to the proper authorities. And when we're talking about in a community, it may be your executive director or another team member. So,
Correct.
Ram, thank you so much for this conversation today. We're hoping that not just on October 2nd, on the International Day of Nonviolence, but the other 364 days of the year, that our residents, that our team members will choose to be upstanders and stand in for one another and not bystanders.
Right.
Remembering that there is a phrase for some folks, silence can be violence. So choose to speak up, choose to express love and kindness, and make our community safer for everyone. Do you have any last words, Ram?
Well, I just wanted to say that, I mean, when since you mentioned about the nonviolence and the October 2nd, and the name Mahatma Gandhi, yeah, the world has changed so much to these days that there is people get upset so soon and without thinking. And my advice to everybody who is listening to this program is that, you know, why not think in terms of think twice before you act, meaning that, learn to control the mind and never judge a person. And if you can just give a few seconds and say, you know what, maybe his words or his actions probably are because he himself is a troubled person inside. He must be having something, that day happened to him. And so why not I give the space to him? And so that is the way that the situations never get arguments and fighting and harassment and all that. So give that thought. It's not an easy thing, but anybody can train their mind to just give that pause,
Yes.
so that sometimes you will be surprised. It has happened. Yeah, I never judge anybody when somebody does something to me. And
Yes.
in fact, somebody even insulted me and then said, you seems to be smiling. I said, I don't know what else to do. In other words, my smile made him think that way. And then I said to myself, that is a very nice weapon to do
And
that.
not just nice, Ram, not just a nice thing, but a wise thing. So,
Yes.
wise words,
Yeah.
Ram. Thank you so much for
Thank
imparting
you.
them on us. And we
Thank you.
appreciate you. Everyone, be upstanders, not bystanders.
Thank you.
Ram, I hope I'll see you again real soon.
Thank you. It was so nice meeting you all. Thank you.